And subhanAllah, these people who have such sharp memory, what do they use it for? They become the equivalent of circuses. They go around charging people to demonstrate, ask the questions of our audience, what's your name, what's your name, what's your name? Then they will regurgitate, your name is this, your name is this, your name is this. And they get money for this, right? That's what they use their memory for. SubhanAllah, is it unsurprising? Why are we surprised that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would bless the ummah with somebody who has even sharper memory and he uses it for hadith? And of the most famous tests done of Imam al-Bukhari was when he was in his 30s. And he revisited Baghdad after Imam Ahmad passed away. He revisited Baghdad. Now his scholarship has now spread around the world. Everybody has heard of Bukhari. And wallahi, it's an amazing thing at the time for somebody in his 30s to have such a reputation. And the scholars of Baghdad said, this guy clearly, his followers have made him bigger than he is. So we will demonstrate once and for all that there's more hype to the man than really there is the man. What did they do? They told Imam al-Bukhari, let us all meet in the grand masjid of Baghdad. Baghdad has the famous masjid, the Masjid al-Jami' al-Kabir, the big masjid, and we will narrate 10 hadith, all of us, for our students to benefit from. And this was common at the time, that all scholars come together, you give 10, you give 10, you give 10, and they'll all take notes, and mashallah, tabarakallah, the students get the luxury of multiple, sheikhs giving multiple hadith. But they had tricked or they wanted to trick Bukhari. And what they wanted to do was to mix and match the chain of narrators called isnad with the matan, with the actual text, and to put the wrong matan with another isnad. So that outwardly it would appear that this hadith looks reasonable because A narrates from B, narrates from C, narrates from D, that the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. But the fact of the matter, A, B, C, D didn't narrate إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Rather, E, F, G, H narrated إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. You see what I'm saying here? Is that the isnad cut, the matan cut and pasted together, and you concoct a new hadith. Now, for the scholars of hadith, they don't just look at إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. They look at the chain going back. And if the chain is different, guess what? This is called a different hadith. For us, miskeen, us basic people, we just care about إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. We don't care about the chains. For the scholars of hadith, if there's a different chain, it's considered a different hadith. So, each one of the 10 mixed and matched all of their 10. And the first of them began, Bukhari sitting there, and he quotes the first hadith. And it's, for the student's perspective, a famous hadith. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Let's say, we don't know the actual 100, but it's a famous hadith. All the students have heard إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. So he mentions the first hadith, a different isnad. Then he asked Bukhari, do you have this hadith? Imam Bukhari says, no, I never heard this hadith. Now for the students, this is the most obvious hadith in the world. Bukhari is saying he's never heard it. The second hadith, again Bukhari says, I've never heard this. The third, the fourth, all 10, and these basic students know all 10. And Bukhari saying, I've never heard these 10. Then the next 10 begins with the next sheikh. Then the next 10, until finally all 100 have been done, and Bukhari has admitted he is jahil for all 100 of them. So clearly they believe they have won now, right? Because by the way, if Bukhari had said he has heard of them, they would have exposed him. These hadith don't exist. You made a mistake. Right? At least he's saying he's not heard of them, but now he really looks like a jahil, that he hasn't heard anything. Then when they're finished, Bukhari has said, are you guys done? They said yes. So he said, okay, as for you, back to the first one. Your first hadith was A, B, C, D, E, F, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. It is incorrect. It should be E, F, G, H, I, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. And then he began with the second, and he corrected. Then the third, and he corrected. All the way till he regurgitated 100 incorrect hadith, and he corrected every single one of them. Ibn Hajar, the famous commentator of Bukhari, who died 852, so many centuries after Bukhari, Ibn Hajar said, what is amazing is not that Imam al-Bukhari knew the right hadith. We would expect this from a hadith master. We would expect it. That he knows it's not A, B, C, D, E, it's rather E, F, G, H, I. We expect this. What is amazing is that he memorized the incorrect versions and the order that they appeared after having only listened to them once. And this is a live test done in the entire masjid of Baghdad with all of the thousands of students there, that Imam al-Bukhari's memory was tested, and these scholars clearly realized the hype is true and the man truly meets up that hype.